I'm not who you talk to. Drop by with you, nigga, that's a couple. Meet to this thing, and then plus Swiss make this beat too. The wall about to spaz. I put them grease on your eyes. You ain't like me, I sip my brandy in a wine glass. No kid with money, we was bootlegging that Comcast. Sold drugs and disrespecting me, my mom mad. Doing 500 magnums, where you find that? All that sinning, I can't never get that time back. To fool a nigga in the book is where you hide that. I praise the Lord, cause he really gave my grind back. Stevie in the office, blind to the facts, we blind to the race, we pour in our face. Money in the bank, only time I'm doing the chase. See, I'ma let my pelvis participate with her waist. Ain't no pleading with crackers, the law gon' handle our case, cause they in violation. Trump, Nancy Pelosi, name them. They in violation of the Bible Code Section 2. Subsection 33, do not fuck with Israel or else you shall catch the beats. I ain't talking Dre, man down Mayday. Christians said they pray for the day till Christ come to slay, and it won't be no Mayday, no sunshine, no daffodils, best shit that with blood. They don't get that dapper feel, pissy gold chain tinted orange like the Daffy Bill. I just ran that bitch. We ain't have a trap house, but I did hand to hand that shit. Managed it. Here he go rambling, pocket collapse, we scrambling. Bullet the helmet if he patriotic, I'm manning it. It's ironic, I'm drinking spring water in the fall. His story go, I spring the war and then I fall. I personally like this next part. Got a bite-sized 38, that's my mouthpiece. You beat the pussy right and she put your name on the house lease. I walk into the Congress and put bullets in the house seats. Cowards giving rats toolies, that's how you seeing mice eat. Her face a 6, has a 7. But damn, she got some nice feet. She fresh up off her knees like, damn, you got some nice meat. My dick game and can't speak, just why these bitches like me. And you ain't nothing like me. Bitches from every tribe like, damn, why he ain't wife me? All love, shorty, I'm just so particular. I walk parallel with God and shoot your ass perpendicular. I don't want to get that order, I'ma have to get rid of you. If he say he the shit, ask the porcelain. I'm shitty, talking that green yellow slush. You gotta stand back just a flush. White rapper torn, hope you ain't in a rush. Word the rose, I park a book in front of that bus. Word the Rosa, nigga.
Test 1, 2. 2, 2, 2. 2. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. The Lord said, confession good for the soul. So right now,
all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. And shot call. To be known with them niggas letting shots off. Either that or the right hand to the top dog. Funny how we see vanity, not the lives lost. Can't be focused on a life that's hopeless. Out there pumping, not knowing the Lord will kill you for that hocus pocus. Used to roll with niggas that cook dope with weaponry. Same ones claim they love you. I had no life in jeopardy. And I know my mother wants success for me. But that G should take a girl straight to ecstasy. Remember running with bruh, even though we did the wrong thing. My life would have been a lot different if I fell up under Rob's wing. Was too sincere for a wicked game. Shame the Lord's name. Now we afflicted with pain. All I ever wanted was to be respected by stand-up niggas. Not knowing that them handcuffs custom made the face. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster. I ain't lying, I was close to dying. Knew I wanted to live, but I wasn't trying. I was defiant. not knowing that this ain't how we live. This just how they design it. Just when you in them streets, you get more endemic. They don't tell you gonna be on papers and on restrictions. My father said a hard head to make a soft ass. I didn't care, I wanted fear when I walked past. In a place where a black man's blood is cheap. I thank the Lord for the day I was on 8th Street. Pissing in the cup, back and forth to court, found the DC school. I swear it felt like I cried on that fucking porch. The Lord said, my sheep, they ain't hear my voice. Asked me why I'm UPK, I told them I ain't have a choice. They said God ain't 50-50 and what's gonna come to pass. The Lord called me out the world and I started running fast. All I wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made provoked the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time and I was just a stranger. Go ahead. All I wanted was to be a gangster. Isupk until it hit the fan. I want power and a throne, nigga, fuck them grams. All I wanted was to be a gangster, but I was real as a righteous man. And now got the upper hand, gotta promote this brand. Correct whole multitudes until they all understand. If I can't get that crown, Lord, then put me in the hands of someone more mighty and make me this hit man. Reminiscing on the pain that was felt. Shit, I was in the jail. Shit, I needed help. But Twan was locked up and the judge put man on the shelf. Heavy crying cause it felt like I was left by myself. All I wanted was to impress niggas with my grinding. Now I ain't trying to prove shit to nobody but Muhammad. Cause most these niggas lie, pump smoke. One time for the most high, he made me a cutthroat. Cause all I ever wanted was to smash my opponents. Stacking cash, not knowing it wouldn't last. Then God, I hope you accept my atonement. Cause all I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made before the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, but I was just a stranger. All I ever wanted was to be a gangster. Little did I know I was in danger. Decisions that I made before the Lord's anger. Prayed to him all the time, but I was just a stranger. All I wanted was to be a gangster.
All right, clap it up, clap it up. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We're under Commander General Yohana. We were started in 1969. We've been bringing out this truth since then, that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the real Israelites of the Bible, the true Jews of the Bible. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And we go out on these streets and wake our people up to teach our people that their true identity and to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments to serve the Most High. That this place right here, this society of America, of Esau, the Edomite, our oppressor, is not our rest, is not our home. This is our captivity. We were clipped up, put on those slave ships, cargo slave ships, and brought over here in captivity. And we've been here ever since. And the one way for us to get out of this captivity is for us to come back to serving our power, the Most High. And how we do that is by getting back into this Bible, this book that was left by our ancestors, left here for us to learn from. And this is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class. I'm Officer 50 by Eyes from the Charlotte School, and we're going to get it on. And we're starting off with what we always start off with, and that's Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. And it reads, "Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. And we always start off with this scripture because this scripture right here it totally encompasses what we do in the Isupk. We're trying to gather ourselves together, man. This is a commandment from the Most High. And we take it personal. We go out here and we recruit brothers and sisters to come join this body, the body of Christ, so that we can gather ourselves together. Because this is what the Lord is telling us to do. But inside these walls, the ones who are already a part of this school, this body, we one, man. We move as one unit. We got one spirit. Everybody is about helping each other succeed in this truth. And that's what brotherhood is all about. It's about no man left behind, so to speak. Making sure that not only that you're good, but that your brother is good too. Because if your brother's not good, then you're not good. I'm not good. If I see my brother over here and he's hungry, how can I just eat until I get full? That's not going to satisfy me. I'd rather both of us get a little bit and neither one of us get full, but either one of us will remain hungry. That's what this brotherhood is all about. And that's part of gathering ourselves together because we're not together right now. We're separate people. We are all over the place in different ideologies and philosophies and different ways of thinking. We're not connected in one mind. We're not on one accord because the scripture says, gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. And we are that nation that's not desired, man. We're the nation that's not desired. To not be desired is to be hated, is to be unwanted. And you can clearly see that that's the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We are that nation. That's why we must gather together. And every other nation is already gathered together. You look in the Asian community, they have a community. They have Chinatowns. They have Korean town. They have these things in different cities across the country. You have Arab neighborhoods. You have Jewish neighborhoods. But blacks and Hispanics, we might have our own neighborhoods, but we're not together in those neighborhoods. We rob and steal from each other. We oppress each other. We are oppressed by other nations inside our communities. That's not gathered together. We might be neighbors with this family for 20 years. And we go to one church on the block and they go to another church on the same block. Or they might go to the Muslim mosque. Or they might not go at all. The flock is scattered, man. The flock is scattered. We're all over the place in different ideologies. But the Bible says in Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1, gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation, not desired. And that's what we do up here in the school, man. We're trying to help our people gather together. And you got to come from out of this wicked society, the society of America, of your oppressor, the society of celebrating these holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, the 4th of July, birthdays. Come out of that, man. Come out of all of these different traps and snares that our oppressor has set forth in front of us to keep us from gathering together, to keep us from reaching our true potential, from knowing our true identity, to keep us separated from our power, from our laws, statutes, and commandments that were given to us by the Most High. And if we keep those laws, statutes, and commandments, then He'll fight for us. And throughout history, that's how we've been taken down. The enemy has taken crafty counsel against our people, man. That's what we deal with on these streets every day. And it's all due to a lack of brotherhood, man. Brotherhood is something that's so important. It's so vital to our community. Because without brotherhood, there can be no gathering together. There can be no community. There can be no lifting each other up. Then we won't be a nation. It says, "Oh, nation not desired," because we are a nation of people. There are many different nations on this earth, man. And we are just one of those nations, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. But we're separated into so many different subgroups and sub-nations here today that we don't understand what our true identity is. But we are one nation, the nation of Israel. And we are to gather ourselves together. And if we don't gather together, or if we don't have brotherhood, then how can we gather together? How can we be a nation? What kind of nation can we be? Who's gonna fight for us? We're just gonna be a bunch of individuals fighting for ourselves. And we can easily be conquered like that. We can't grow economically. Our family's gonna be separate. We can't teach morals, and we can't come together to become a stronger nation. These are the things that we need to be a true nation, man. Brotherhood. Like I said, this is the Tuesday night brotherhood class. We go through this class every week because it's vitally important for us to emphasize how brotherhood can take us up out of the condition that we're in. If if you don't have it, or if I'm lacking in this area, then I can look to my left or my right and depend on my brother to help me out, and vice versa. We're not alone in this fight, man. We got brothers and sisters. I remember when I first came into the school, I had demons just like everybody else. But you look around and you see you got brothers who battled the same things. And you see that they overcame those. But they didn't overcome it by themselves. They didn't overcome it until they came into school and got around other brothers and sisters who went through the same things and knew the right words to speak to each other to help battle those demons, man. That's what we do here, man. It's vitally important that we have this brotherhood, man. And we're going to get started with Mark 12 and 31. Mark 12 and 31. All right. This is the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 31. And I'm going to read up a bit. And we'll start at verse 28. And one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, and perceiving that he had answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all? Now this is the scribe coming to Christ because he heard Christ having a conversation or being questioned by other people. And he was listening to the conversation. And hearing that conversation, he perceived that Christ had gave good answers to their questions. He recognized that Christ was telling them the right things. So he came to Christ and asked Christ, which is the first commandment? Or which commandment is the most important? Verse 29. And Jesus answered him, the first of all the commandments is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. So hear, O Israel. This is Christ quoting the scriptures, the Old Testament. And the first commandment is, hear, O Israel. So this book is only talking to the Israelites, man. This book is only for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. This is the first commandment. The Lord our God is one. Verse 30. And we only have one power. the one true power, the most high God, man. He is the most high God. He is Lord of Lords. He is the Lord of hosts. He is the Lord of Israel, the one true power, the maker of heaven and earth, man. We're not into these, we're not, what's the word? Polytheistic or whatever. We don't worship multiple gods here, man. We worship one power, and that's the most high. Verse 30. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. So you're supposed to love the Lord with all your heart, man. And your heart is your mind. Your heart is your mind. You don't have control over your own heart, man. Your heart is a organ that pumps blood in your chest. You can't control that. That's an involuntary muscle. And the Most High is smart that way because we don't need control over our heart. We might forget to let it do what it do. He got control over that. And when it stopped beating, that's the end for you. And with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. So basically, you're supposed to love the Most High with everything you got, man. And the next line says, with all thy strength. So put everything you got into loving the Lord, man. With all your mind, your soul, your body, with your thoughts, with your actions, and do it with a zeal and with a fervor. You have to be conscious about how you love the Lord, man. You have to make sure that you're not slacking on how you love the Lord, man. If you see a brother who's going hard in the school and he's going hard at showing the Lord how much he loves him, then that is supposed to be a sign to you to pick it up, to step it up, to step your game up. Not to hate on that brother or call him over righteous or talk behind his back or anything like that. You're supposed to look at that as an example of what you need to be doing. That's what we have in here, man. That's another form of brotherhood, man. Leading by example, man. Let your actions speak louder than your words, man. Brotherhood comes in many forms. You can be a brother who's a vocal brother, or who always has a kind word, or who always knows what to say at the right moment. Or you could be a brother who just does, man. Who just does what needs to be done at the moment. He might not ask you if you need anything. He might just say, here, or he might just start doing something, man, and it's just what you need. Or you might have a sister who does the same thing. It could be a relative, or it could be a wife, or a physical sister, or whatever. Or it could be just some random sister in the school who might bring a pot of food for the brothers after camp or something, man. Knowing that her brother's been out there warring on these streets all day, and she decides that she's going to show her sisterhood to her brothers and bring them something to eat because she know that they might need that, man. Like, there are many different ways of being a good brother or sister, man. And each moment might call for a different aspect to come to the forefront at that particular time. But you're supposed to love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment. This is it, man. Everything that you do is supposed to be about loving the Lord. Everything that you do all day long is supposed to be about loving the Lord. And part of loving the Lord is keeping his law, statutes, and commandments. Part of loving the Lord is loving your brother and your sister, being a good brother or being a good sister, looking for different ways to not just be about yourself all day long. If you think about yourself all day long, then who's looking out for your brother or your sister? And who's going to be looking out for you in your time of need? Because you're not always going to be on top. There's going to come a time when you're going to need somebody, man. You're going to need somebody sometime to lean on or to talk to or to pick you up or to help you get through a tough situation. Check the chat. Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat Officer Shabayala, man. Glad to be back, sir. The water to you. All these brothers in the school, man. We got some powerful brothers, some powerful priests and prophets in the school, man. I went through a tragedy. They've been checking on a brother, man. That's brotherhood right there. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, man. I went through a tough loss. Lost my father a couple weeks ago. And these brothers just been checking on me, man, making sure I've been good, man. Trying to make sure I stay strong in the Lord, man. Make sure, they know I'm suffering, but they just call just to let me know that they think about me, man, or they just want to see how I'm doing. And like I said, there's different ways of being a good brother, and that right there is definitely appreciated, man. It only made me just want to go harder when I got back, and it made me stronger in my faith as I went through my tough time, man. And the water to them brothers for that, man. Thanks a lot, man. I love y'all brothers, man. Straight up. Back to the scripts. And verse 31. And the second is like, namely this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So the second commandment Christ is telling him, because he asked, what's the first commandment? Christ gave him the first commandment. But Christ didn't stop there. Christ gave him the second commandment too. And he said, the second is like, namely this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. That's right, man. You should love your neighbor as yourself. The same way you love yourself is how you're supposed to love the other blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. That's what it's going to take for us to get up out of this captivity that we're in. Salaki. That's what it's going to take for us to get up out of this captivity, to get from under this oppression. Brotherhood, man. Brotherhood is our weapon to defeat our oppressor, because it's commanded by the Most High, man. We got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. And the second is namely this. And the second is like, namely this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. As thyself. Your neighbor. And once again, don't get it twisted. Don't let the Christian church fool you. Everybody is not your neighbor. Your neighbor is not every person on the planet Earth, man. That's foolish. Christians don't realize that the same people that they call their neighbor, or the same people that they include when they say that God loves everybody, are the same people that were told that they were not human, man, that they were property. The same people that beat Christianity in us and then gave us their version of what the Bible says, where it says, love thy neighbor. They didn't consider you a neighbor. They didn't consider you a neighbor. They considered you a piece of property, that you weren't human. But then we turn around and try to make everybody our neighbor. I don't understand the disconnect. Like, how do we differentiate between what our oppressors beat into us, but then we don't take it the way that they give it to us, like or use the example that they use. Not that we should follow Christianity. We should not. We should throw it away, get rid of it. It's been a big detriment to our people. But my point is, if you see them doing this or treating you this way, and they gave you this religion, then why wouldn't you copy the religion the way that they gave it to you? Because it's a trick, it's a trap, because they never gave it to you with the intentions of you treating them the way that they treat you. It's a double standard. It's a double standard the way that they live and the way that they taught us to live. They treated us like we weren't human, but then they wanted us to treat everybody like we're neighbors. And we supposed to smell that rat and not fall into that trap, man. But that's what the Isupk is here for, man. Because at one point we were all victims of this Christianity, man. Christianity has been the biggest problem in our community, man. That Christian church is definitely the house of Satan, man. It teaches us the opposite of brotherhood. It'll have you treating your oppressor better than your own brothers and sisters that you live by, that you're oppressed with, that you suffer with every day. You'll feel sympathy for somebody who has everything going for them, who gets love from everybody. And you'll feel like you're wrong if you don't give some of that love too. But then ignore the brothers and sisters in the ghetto, because that's what your oppressor does. We begin to act just like the oppressor. He hates us. He loves his own. So what do? We hate us and we love them. That's what we do. That's what Christianity has done, man. It has taught us to be terrible brothers and sisters, man. And I'm going to continue on. And the second is like, namely this: love thy neighbor, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. So Christ put these two commandments together, man. Of course, he put loving the Most High first, but then he put loving your neighbor as yourself second, man. And he put these two commandments together when that scribe asked, what is the first commandment? Well, he gave him the first and the second commandment, because you have to love the Lord first, but you can't love the Lord if you don't love your brother, man. I go over these same scriptures every week, man. Every week the Lord allowed me to be here. I go over these same scriptures because it's important. It's important that we realize that you cannot love the Lord without loving your brothers and your sisters, man. How can you love the Lord? How can you say that you love God, but then that whom you haven't seen? Matter of fact, I'm going to just get it, man. I'm going to just get it. Because these scriptures all go together. One second, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get it. Let me get it. One second. Bear with me as I almost want to do what Officer Shabayala does, the bobbity bobbity. But I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do that. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, here we go. This is the book of 1 John, chapter 4, starting at verse 20. And if a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? There you go, man. I was going to jack up quoting it, so I had to get it. But if you say you love God, if you say that you love God and you hate your brother, then you're a liar. It's going back to that same first and second commandment again. The first commandment tells you to love God with all that you got, mind, body, spirit, man, soul, all of that. Love him with everything you got and all your strength. Put all your strength into that. Then the second commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. So if you don't have the second commandment, then you can't complete the first commandment. How can you say that you love God, but you hate your brother? You're not completing those two commandments who Christ says there are no more commandments greater than these, man. Like that's as flat as I can lay it out for you, man. That's plain right there. The first two commandments that Christ says are the greatest. Love the Lord thy God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength. Hear, O Israel. And he's only talking to Israel, man. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Don't forget that, man. You other nations, y'all can kick rocks, man. It's not for you, man. Christ is not about you, man. No commandments greater than these. The first is to love the Lord. And the second is to love your neighbor as yourself. And there's no commandments greater than these. So you can't love God without loving your brother, man. And that's why men who are much smarter than me, man, much mightier and more worthy and just better men than me, was smart enough to make us have a brotherhood class once every week, man. Every week. We got to go through this brotherhood class, man. That's how important brotherhood is. And the men in this school, Commanding General Yohana, starting with him and the generals under him, and the people who taught Commanding General Yohana since 1969 was smart enough to know, man, that we need a brotherhood class, man. Because you can't love the Lord without loving your brothers, man, without being a good brother, man. We can't become a nation. We can't function as a nation without good brotherhood, man. I was watching the class from the powerful priest and prophet, officer of 1,000, Zion Yala, man. And he was breaking it down about how to speak to each other, man. That was from a couple weeks ago. He taught this class when I wasn't being a good brother and I couldn't be here. And, you know, I would have loved to have been here, but circumstances made it where I couldn't. So Salaki, Salaki, but the water to that brother for covering for me, you know what I mean? But he brought up a powerful point about how we should speak to each other, man. Like just something as simple as words carry a lot of weight, man, especially amongst our people. Speaking about my father, man, like that's what I can always remember growing up from when I was a little dude, man, a little kid growing up. My father was like that guy in the community who everybody loved, man, because he was always kind. He always had a kind word for everybody, man. And he would always say hey and speak and wave to everybody that passed by. I remember being in the car with this dude, man, and I'm on the passenger side, and he's driving, and every car that passed by, he waved. He waved. I'm like, Daddy, why you waving to all these people, man? These people, you don't even know these people, man. You know what I mean? But that's just who he was, man. He was a dude who was always gonna show love, man. Gonna put his best foot forward. Was gonna go out of his way to be kind to somebody because he knew that everybody wasn't gonna be kind to that person all day long. So when they came in contact with him, they didn't have to worry about that, man. And I kind of got that from him at one point, and then I started to do that. I would speak to people as I walked by, but the world wasn't so receiving of that. You went to school and you had dudes who looked at you as soft for speaking to everybody. So I learned. Well, I didn't learn, but I thought I learned that I had to not be like that. I had to toughen up. I had to throw the cold shoulder to my brother and not speak to my brothers and put a mean look on my face and ice grill my brothers. Something that my father never taught me to do, man. He taught me to be kind to everybody. But I let the ways of the world take out of me what he put in me. But now that I'm back, that I'm in the UPK is putting back in me what I let the world take out of me, man. And that's being a good brother. Something that I was taught from a child, man, from my father, man. To be kind, to help people out, man. Like my father was that guy who was good at everything, man. We called him Mr. Fix It. He could be an electrician, he could be an auto mechanic, he could be a carpenter, he could be whatever you needed, man. He could fix it, man. And anybody in the neighborhood, everybody knew that. So they would always call him to help him do this and help him do that. And he would always go. He never wanted to tell somebody no, man. His saying, his little favorite saying and slogan was, "If I can help you, I will, man." Like that's the kind of example that I had growing up, man. But I let the world take that out of me, man. And I thank the Most High for the UPK, man, because the UPK helped me realize and bring me back to that, man. That I have to be a good brother, man. And I thank the Lord for my pops, man, for showing me that that was the right way to be all along, man. Because now these same brothers that I would have once ice grilled when I walked by them, now I said, "What's up?" I give them the nod, man. I said, "What's up?" And 9 times out of 10, they say the same thing, man. "What's up?" No matter what they might be into, man. Those were just some knuckleheads in school, man. As kids, kids gonna be kids. But for the most part, man, you be a good brother. Brothers and sisters, they'll see that, man, and they'll acknowledge that, man, and try to reciprocate that, man. And if they don't, then so what, man? You did your part. Sometimes we need to set the example to people who don't know any better, man. You don't know how much influence you can have by just doing the right thing, man. By being a good brother. You don't know who you're going to influence to be a good brother, man. Salaki, 1 second. Salaki, Officer Caldwell, I'm about to send it to you right now. Give me 1 second. Salaki. right, there you go. Slacky, sir, you good to go? Slacky, when he get that, he'll come in if he get that. But where was I? Back to being a good brother, man, at all times. Helping a brother in need, man. Being willing to put yourself and what you got going on hold in order to help somebody else out, man. I can remember having a baseball game or something, and my father was the coach, and you know he's the coach, and I'm a player on the team, and we got a game or practice probably because the game was a little bit different, but we I'm waiting on him to get home so he can take me to practice or take me to the game. And here he goes showing up late. And I'm like, yo, come on, Pops. We're supposed to be there at such and such time. And he's like, I had to stop and help somebody change the tire or do something or help him with the air conditioner or whatever, you know. I'm like, that's what it is. But he taught me that it was all right for you to go without to help somebody else who was going without, man. Especially if what they were going without was more important than what you had to do. But what's a baseball practice, man? Compared to somebody who needs AC in South Carolina in the summertime, man. What's that? That's nothing, man. Hey, Shalom, how about Shimmy Shabarakatah, sir?
Shalom, Shukata, what's going on, boss?
I'm Tues, sir. Good to see you.
Likewise.
The water, man. The water for reaching out to me.
God, ain't no sweat.
You got that what was that first joint? That was Mark 12 and 31. That's what I was at. I was going back to that. Because Christ was laying it out, man, of how important it is to keep both these commandments, man. You got it?
God, it's the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 31. And the second is like, namely this.
Good lucky. If you could, start at verse 30.
God, verse 30. And thou shalt love the most high, Salaki, and thou shalt love the Lord thy Salaki, and thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength.
That's right, man. So not only should you love the Lord with mind, body, and soul, but you should put your whole strength into it, man. Like with all your might, man. Like with everything you got, love the Most High, man.
Well,
Keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. Go out there on these streets when it's time to go to camp, man. Lace those boots up. Put that tie that tie around your head, man. Put that headpiece on, man. Put that garment on, man. Even when you ain't feeling the best physically, man. If you ain't bedridden and you can get up and do it, get up and do it, man. You're doing it for the Lord, man. That's what we gotta do, man. We gotta love the Most High with some spunk, man, with some zeal, man. You can't be nonchalant and lazy and go about it lazy, man. You can't half-ass the law. It's lucky for my language, but that's just the best way I can say it, man. You got to put everything you got into it, man. The Lord wants your best, man. The Lord wants your all, man. Read.
This is the first commandment.
This is the first commandment. That's what he asked him. Which commandment was the first? Which one is the most important? Nothing, put nothing before the Most High, man. Nothing. Sometimes we got to learn that the hard way, man. Like, I wonder sometimes, is there anything that I could be doing more, Like, and if you're wondering that, then you probably can be. So, as priests and prophets of the Lord, we got to always be doing a self-evaluation, man. How can we serve the Lord better? How can we be better brothers? And you got to constantly hold yourself accountable to meet the high standard that the UPK set for us, man. The men before us set for us. Like, we got some powerful leaders in the school, man.
Right.
Commander General, starting with Commander General Yohana, man.
Right.
The man is the hardest working man in Israel, man. He take no days off, man. And here we go worrying about our little day to day. Sometimes we gotta lace up our boots, tie that headband on, and just get to it, man. And say forget about everything else and just serve the Lord, man, with all we got, man. And part of loving the Lord with all you got is read, sir. Continue.
Verse 31. And the second is like, namely this.
Namely this,
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
that you should love your neighbor as yourself, man. Like that right there, sometimes that can be a hard thing to do, man. But still yet, if you want to complete the first commandment, then you got to complete the second commandment. You got to love your neighbor as yourself, man. And again, your neighbor is your brother from your nation, man. Someone from your nation. And you got to love him. And I don't care who he is, whether he's the president of the United States, whether he's your boss at work, whether he's a top athlete in the NBA or the NFL, whether he's that brother that always gave you a hard time in school, whether he's that dude that robbed you last week, man, whether he's that bum that you pass on the corner on your way to work every week, every day, man. You gotta love all of them brothers who are your neighbors as yourself, man. That's put that in put that in context, man. Think about that. You know you love yourself. Sometimes we hate some of our own people, man. Sometimes our own people wrong us, man. They do us dirty. I mean, they do us dirty. You know how we are in our community, man. But you're still supposed to love that brother as you love yourself, man. That's the standard that we got to get to if we want to get up out of this captivity, man. That's the standard you want to get to if you want to love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, man. That's the caliber of love we got to show each other if you want to be serving the Lord, man.
Right.
That's the kind of brotherhood that's commanded, man. Commanded. That's the kind of brotherhood we're going to have as we gather ourselves together, man, and become this nation, man. This nation that's not desired, man. Because we don't have that right now, man. But we got to get it, though. And we got to get it. And it starts by loving your neighbors, man. Loving your brothers and sisters, man. Thinking about somebody else instead of yourself. Read on, sir. Baba Kasha.
And the second is like, namely this. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these.
That's right, man. None other commandment greater than these, man. And that's Christ. That's Christ saying that, man. None other commandment greater than these. And Salakia, if I could you get me the one where he says, do unto those as you would have them do unto you? What's that?
Come.
That's John. Is that
Luke.
John? Luke. Luke 6:31.
Come.
The water, sir.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 6, and verse 31. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise.
That's right, man. You know how you want to be treated, man. So treat people that way, man. Treat people that way, man. Like stop being the person who always gotta win all the time, man. Like we all know somebody in our neighborhood or that we grew up with who always gotta come out on top, man. Like he always want the best. Like if you sharing something and you break it, he want the big piece, man. He always want the big piece, man.
Hmm.
He's gonna be that guy, man. If you playing a game of NBA Live, he want to play with the All Stars, man. When everybody else try to play with regular teams, like that's just sometimes how we gonna be with each other. Or we got some people like that, but we gotta stop dealing with each other like that, man. In this school, man, brothers have a hard time being the first one to walk out the door, man. It's like that after you. No, after you. Now after you. Like, all right, man, bro, we gotta get out the door, so I'll just go. You know what I mean? Or you sure you don't want some of this plate, brother? Nah, brother, I'm good, man. Man, you sure, brother? Because we don't want to see our brother go without, man. We want to treat each other the way that we want to be treated. And that's powerful, man. Because when you got brothers and sisters looking out for you like that, then you can't go wrong, man. You can't lose, man. As a people, we can't lose. When you can, when you don't have to worry about yourself, all you gotta do is worry about everybody else. Because everybody else is gonna worry about you, man. Like I told my wife one time, man. I was like, look, this is how we gonna get through. This is how we gonna make it, man. You don't worry about your needs. You worry about my needs, and I worry about yours. And we take care of each other. In the same way that we do that, that's how we gotta be for everybody else in this nation, man. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Read that again if you could, sir, please.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 6, and verse 31. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise.
That's right. As you would that men should do unto you, man. Everybody got a way that they want to be treated, man. That they want men to do unto them. Everybody know what that is. It might be different. And if you're one of those sick, perverted people, then this is not talking about you, man. Don't bring that into the equation. We talking about legitimate good things, man. How you want somebody to treat you right, man. You know what I mean? Do right to you. Then you need to do right to that person. Likewise, man. All it's saying is think about somebody else too, man. Don't just think about yourself. And feel free to interject if you got anything to say, sir.
Come, Most High
You know
Christ.
how we do. You know how we do.
Yeah, Most High Christ.
Right. But lastly, it was something I had to bring up. Oh yeah. That's what it is. I wanted to get the definition, and I got it right here, of brotherhood, man. This is the definition of brotherhood. It's the relationship between brothers. That's one. And two, an association, society, or community of people linked by a common interest, religion, or trade. I wanted to focus on that second one because it's an association, man. Something in common, an association, a society, man. A world. You know, world, the definition of world, like in John 3:16 is age of society. So this society that we live in of America, that's the society. But inside of America, there's a nation that's not desired, man. And that's blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. We are a nation. We are a society or a community of people linked by a common interest, religion, or trade. We are a community of people linked together as Israelites, man, as the chosen people of God, man, as the only people given these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. That's a brotherhood, man. But that's just the term brotherhood as like a noun. But then there's the brotherhood that's a verb, man. Something that you do. That's what we focus on in this Tuesday night class, man. And action of being a good brother, of showing brotherhood. Like that's something that you do towards those people in that society who you are linked with by a common religion or trade. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we have to work hard at being good brothers and sisters to each other, man.
What?
That's, that's something that we gotta work at, man. It's an action, man. It's not something you say, man. Love in deed, not just in word, man. Like it's amazing. Sometimes you'll have a flat tire, right? You'll be on the side of the road, and somebody will stop that you know. And they'll be like, "Yo, if you need anything, let me know. I need help changing my tire, man." You know,
Sure.
like you already know what I need, man. But they just saying a word that sounds good. They have no intentions of helping you change your tire. Or they might see you down and out. And they'll be like, yo, if you need something, just let me know. And they have no intentions of really doing that, man. And you know those people, so you don't even say nothing. You don't even say nothing. But then there's that brother or sister that you know who got your back. And they say, yo, if you need anything, I got you, man. Just let me know. Just say the word. And you know that person mean that, man. That's a person who has shown you brotherhood or sisterhood in the past, man. So you know that they mean what they say. We all got to get to that point, man, with each other, where it's not just lip service, man. And we know it's not lip service because we have proven it to each other time and time again. That's what brotherhood is all about, man. That's what's going to help us become better brothers and sisters, man. That's what's going to help us get out of this captivity that we're in. That's what's going to help us overcome this oppression while we wait to get out of this captivity. Because right now, like there are examples in our community of us calling the cops, of calling our oppressors to help us with a situation. And it ends bad, man. It ends bad when we could have just called the captain in the Isupk of that city and he would have showed the ultimate brotherhood and fixed the problem, man. Because he cares about fixing the problem and helping his brother get through that situation. You can't rely on your oppressor to show you brotherhood, man. You gotta rely on each other for that, man.
What?
That's what it's all about. That's what's gonna help us overcome and get to another level in this society, man. This society is not built for us to win. This society is built for us to stay down and have their foot on our necks, man. Have their knee on our necks. So why would you want to make it harder for another brother down there right beside you with a knee on his neck, man? And then try your best to show your love to the person who got their knees on our necks, man. That makes no sense, man. That's asinine, man. That's like totally, it's like hustling backwards, man. We got to come up out of that, man. We got to become better people, man. We got to become better brothers and sisters to each other, man. Like I know I keep saying it, but we're trying to beat it into the heads of anybody listening of how important brotherhood is to the success of our nation. Because even if we are to ever not if, but when we overcome our oppressors and we now a nation, if we don't have brotherhood and love for each other, then we still won't succeed as a nation, man. Like you cannot win without us loving each other, man. We just gotta love each other, man. Like it somewhere along the line it became uncool for us to love each other or to show love for each other. It became like you wasn't cool if you let a brother step on your shoes and you don't fight him, man.
Well,
It wasn't cool for you to not try to scheme on your brother's girl, man. Like you wasn't cool if you wasn't trying to come up and get some stripes by dissing another one of your brothers, man. Like I don't know when it changed, man. I don't know when it changed, but it did, man. Because we wasn't always like that, man. It probably was with it probably started with integration. Because before integration, our love in the community was much better, man. We didn't have so much black on black crime, man. We didn't have so much hate in our community. I can even remember in a time in rap when I was growing up. I'm an older cat, so I can kind of remember the beginning stages of rap before this gangster rap, man. When you had songs like Self Destruction, man, with the East Coast rappers, man. You had MC Light and Chuck D and KRS-One and all these dudes on self destruction talking about our community and being better brothers and sisters to each other. You had different rap groups talking about showing love as a community. Then on the West Coast, you had we all in the same gang because they saw the way that our community was going downhill and they wanted to do something about it. Then the next thing you know, anybody who rap like that, Salaki. Anybody, Salaki. Anybody who rap like that was no longer getting airplay. You had to talk about selling dope, making your sisters a whore, or killing your brother in order to get any kind of airplay or recognition. Everything started to change, man. Suddenly, Scarface became our favorite movie, man.
well,
Suddenly, gangster movies became our favorite. Everybody wanted to be a gangster, man. And I'm talking about that became like a fantasy, man. That we made it a self fulfilling prophecy, man. But our older generation, even though they had their flaws, man, you know, they might have loved our oppressor a little too much. I'll give you that, but they didn't. kill each other the way we do these days, man. They had just a little bit more love for each other, man. So we need to get back to that, man. That's what we need to do. If you could, sir,
So Salaki,
come on with it, sir.
Salaki, if I could say one thing, what you saying is so heavy in this that before integration, we knew for one, we knew exactly who the devil was.
That's
We
right.
knew who was hanging us on trees for nothing, right? So we knew who our neighbors weren't, right? And before integration, we were able to erect, major cities like Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Right.
Rosewood, you know what I mean, and Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Durham, North Carolina, and all kind of black cities through the spirit of brotherhood, having love for each other. So what you're saying is so heavy because before integration, we had that community spirit, and we were able to, prosper. You know what I mean? And integration kind of killed that brotherly spirit that we had as a people.
Right.
It's a lot.
The water. Get that preach the prophet a powerful hand.
Most High, right.
And to piggyback off of what you said, because what you're saying is so heavy. I read an article one time. I got to do a little more research, then I'll be able to go into it further. But I read that Tulsa, Oklahoma, even though it got bombed in that race riot in what 1921.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
19
1921.
something.
That wasn't the end of it. A lot of places rebuilt, and a lot of people were able to restore their businesses, and it began to thrive a little bit. Not
Yeah,
like it was before, because of course a lot of people died.
right,
And some people were able to still have a community, right?
right,
But what finally destroyed it totally was integration.
right. And Salaki, if I could say one more thing
Yes, sir.
to add to your point, and also too during that time, like the 1920s, this nation that we dwell in was in a Great Depression.
That's right.
While we was up, they was down.
That's right.
The same thing gonna happen all over again. When we rise up, that's when all them gonna fall down. So they won't be able to open up stores in our communities and glorify the negative aspects of our culture, like how you was just bringing out with the gangster rap music and you know what I mean. How they glorify the negative aspects of our culture and push it upon our people. You know what I mean? It's a lot.
Right, right. Come on, sir. Damn right. That's heavy what you're saying, man. That like all of that is true. All of that is true. All of that is on point because this oppressor, man, he is the devil that the Bible speaks of first and
Well,
foremost, man. First and foremost. I ain't said that in a minute. The devil is the Bible. The devil,
sorry, right.
the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
Man, it feel good to say that.
Those are right.
And that's something I didn't realize until I came into this school, man. And the more I hear it, and it gets reiterated, and I go out into these streets into the world, you see it all over the place, man. He continuously reveals himself every day, or the Most High reveals it to us, or whatever. But it's becoming more and more clearer every day. But that oppressor, man, like the Most High is for Israel, man. He's the God of Israel. We are His chosen people.
Well,
So when we up, they gonna be down, man. That's how it is. And if we disobey Him, then He gonna use them to bring us down, man. And the same way that we were up when they had a Great Depression, it's like during the Passover, man. We were having a celebration inside those doors with the blood on the door, man. But outside was death and carnage to the firstborn of the Egyptians, man. Like it's always gonna be our heaven is their hell, and their heaven is our hell, man. Like hell and heaven are not places where you go after you die, man.
Right.
It's a place and a condition on the earth, man. And for us in America, the place, the condition of being on the bottom under this oppressor is hell, man. And
Right.
it's just heaven, man. And you go anywhere where Israelites are, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, it's the same story everywhere, man. We under the foot of this oppressor, man. Like that situation in Haiti, you know that oppressor got his thumb on the scale somewhere on that, man.
Right.
With the assassination of that brother, man. I got to do some more research on that too. I don't want to overstep. I want to get the GPK stance on it. I'm just an officer of 50. I ain't trying to get out of my place at all. But just knowing the devil as the devil, you already know what it is, man. But if you could, sir, Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 and 22. Because this oppressor, man, don't look to him for the brotherhood, man. Do not
Right.
do it, man. Because he's just gonna lie, steal, and kill, man. That's what he's here to do. And some of our people get sucked in the same way Eve got sucked into the serpent. He's a slithery, subtle beast, man. He's a slithery, subtle beast. So don't let his subtlety fool you, man. He's a wicked beast, man. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
Reason why he's the reason why we are in the situation that we're in now. He's the reason why we don't show the kind of brotherhood to each other that we should right now, man. Through all of his crafty subtlety, man. Read it if you got it, sir, Dr. Shaw.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Adawan, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him?
So this is Peter coming to Christ, asking Christ a question. How often should he forgive his brother? Not some other nation, man, but his brother, man, a fellow black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, man, Native American. How often should he forgive one of his own nation if he offended? Read.
Till 7 times.
Till 7 times? Should I forgive him 7 times? Read on, see what Christ said.
Verse 22. Yahushua saith unto him, I say not unto thee,
And Christ
until
said,
7 times,
and Christ says, I say not unto you 7 times. So no, not just 7 times, Peter, but what?
but until 70 times 7.
But until 70 times 7, man. 70 times 7 is 490 times, man. With some quick math. I just said it enough. It ain't. It's just, I just know it now. But that's not the point. The point is, a lot of times, man. You know how we talk as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? We don't speak in exact terms, man. If I say, yo, man, this joint was mad expensive, man. This joint cost me like $1 million, man. You know it ain't cost me no $1 million, but you know it was expensive, man. So if Christ says 70 times 7, he just playing off of the number that Peter gave. And he multiplied it by another big number just to show you that you need to forgive your brother a lot of times, man. It's the same thing as him saying, turn the other cheek, man. Resist the evil, man. It was evil for your brother to do you wrong, and it'll be evil for you to do your brother wrong in return, man. So forgive your brother, man. The same way you want your Father in heaven to forgive you, man. That's why we pray the prayer, man. When we say the Lord's Prayer, we say, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, man. We ask the Lord to forgive us of our sins. So why not forgive your brother when he sins against us, man? These are different ways that we fulfill those first two commandments, man, of loving the Lord and loving thy neighbor as thyself, man. Sometimes you're gonna have to forgive your brother, man. Somebody's gonna do you wrong from time to time. You're gonna do somebody else wrong from time to time. But in order for us to move on, we gotta talk about it, discuss it, and we might have to go to counsel about it, get a righteous judgment on the situation, and then we move on, man. But go to that brother, man, and let him know, look, you did me wrong. And if he don't want to, acknowledge that he did you wrong, then you take him to counsel. But if that brother said, look, man, Salakia, brother, Salakia, my bad. Then forgive that brother, man.
Right.
Move on, man. Let it go. Sometimes that happens, man. That's your brother, man. Whatever it is that he did is probably not as probably. It is that he did is not more important than us loving each other, man.
That's right.
It's not more important than that. If he stepped on your shoes, man, forget that brother. That's nothing. That ain't even nothing right there. That's not even nothing you should have to forgive that brother for, man. Because that's a pair of shoes, man. Your brother worth way more than a pair of shoes. But say your brother really does something to offend you of importance. Even that, your brother is still more important than that, man. He is another chosen person of the nation of Israel to the Most High, man.
That's right.
He's like gold to the Most High, man. And if the Most High loves that brother. So who are you to not treat that brother with the same respect that you want to be treated with, man? You want somebody to forgive you when you wrong them? But Christ said, treat others as you would have them treat you, man. And you would want somebody to forgive you. So you got to forgive them, man. Forgiveness goes a long way, man. Because people know when they mess up. In the world that we live in, a lot of people don't give second chances, man.
Right.
So if you being a brother actually said, look, you know, you did me dirty, but I still love you, man. You my brother. Don't sweat it, man. No sweat. It's all good. I forgive you. Sometimes that right there will be all that brother need to become a better brother, man. Because somebody gave them a second chance, man. Now they got a whole new outlook on the way they see the world, man. Because now they can't say that nobody ever gave them a second chance. Because somebody finally did, man. And now they might think that it's worth doing the same thing to somebody else, man. Like I said, the examples that we set when dealing with each other can help each other be better people, man.
Right.
Be better brothers, show better brotherhood, man. That's why it's so important for us to have this class every week, man. Every week. We got to go over it, man. We got to go through it because it's important for our nation. Because without it, we'll never be a nation.
Right.
If you could, sir.
Salami Baz, if I could say one
Yes,
thing.
sir. Yes, sir. Bring it on.
Right. What you saying is so on point in this, right? With about forgiveness, right? It's important that we forgive each other as brothers and sisters to be a nation, right? Because
Yes,
these other
sir.
nations are not sorry for anything they've done to us, man. They're not
Absolutely
sorry
not.
for putting us on them slave ships, man. They're not sorry for flooding our communities with drugs. They're not sorry for putting our people behind the prison wall. They're not sorry for anything that they do to us. They are proud of the things that they do to us. Like, for example, the gun that murdered Trayvon Martin was sold for a few $100,000. They're not sorry
My
for anything
God.
that they've done to us. So, us forgiving each other is just that, a small step in building this nation.
Right.
The greatest nation on the entire face of the planet Earth, according to the Bible.
Right.
This is such a heavy, so heavy what you bringing out because none of these other nations are sorry for anything that they do to us. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. That's
So,
right, sir. The water, man. The water for that, sir. That's such a heavy point that you're bringing out. They're not sorry, man. They're not sorry for nothing that they've done. I put up a TikTok video for the Charlotte School, and it has Mount Rushmore. And the four presidents around Mount Rushmore is Abraham Lincoln, and it got used his slaves' teeth as dentures. Then it
it's a lot
got,
of George Washington,
who did I say, sir?
Lincoln.
Salaki, George Washington, the water for that.
Yeah,
George Washington used his slaves' teeth as dentures.
right,
Then it has Thomas Jefferson raped little girls that he had as slaves, right?
right.
Then it had I forget the third. I always forget the third president. I think it was Theodore Roosevelt, maybe. But whoever it was, he said that the only good Indian is a dead Indian, right?
Right.
But then I looked up. Then I looked it up because I didn't want to post anything that I didn't research myself, right? So when I looked it up, it said he didn't exactly say there's no good Indian but a dead Indian. But what he actually said was, I would go out of my way of saying 9 out of 10 that's true in 9 out of 10 of the cases that there's no good Indian but a dead Indian.
Mm,
And I won't even look too hard into the case of the temple. So basically, he said there's no good Indian but a dead Indian. So that was a true statement too. And then Abraham Lincoln ordered the largest mass hanging of 38 Dakotas. The largest mass hanging in the nation's history. We hanged 38 Dakotas, right? And I put that up, and I had the brother's song "Woe to America" playing in the background, and it said "Woe to America." Then they had Commander General Hunter coming on. God is going to judge this.
damn
God
right.
is going to destroy this empire, man.
So let's send me that joint.
Well, I got that. I sent it to you.
Okay.
I'm still getting, I'm still getting comments from devils daily on that post, right?
Uh,
Because they say things like, "If you don't love America, then leave."
mm,
Or slavery was a long time ago. Why don't you get over it?
damn.
Or well, Abraham Lincoln was the one that freed the slaves. Or you got some false information. Or they're not sorry for none of it, man.
Right.
None of it. Never mind the fact that George Washington took his slaves' teeth. Never mind the fact that Thomas Jefferson raped his child slaves, man.
Right. And Salaki Baaz, if I could.
Yes, sir. Come on with it.
Right. Back then, there was no Novocaine. There wasn't any Novocaine to numb any teeth or anything like that. And again, your tooth pull is not a pleasant, thing to go through. Right. So they were
Right.
very ruthless and very, evil and wicked in all of the ways. And Thomas Jefferson raping all those black women and having children. He enslaved his own children, man.
Right.
See how ruthless. So how much the devil they are. Salah.
Yeah, man. Come. Hey, the devil is the devil is the devil, man.
Right,
And his children, they're not sorry one bit. They
right,
say things like, so what they did those things? They fought the greatest presidents ever. They built this country. They did more than you ever did. All of these comments from these devils, man, they're not sorry for none of it, man.
Yo, that Salah, that joint should go viral.
It has gone viral.
Most, most sign Christ.
Yeah. Well, I
Right.
ain't gonna say viral. I ain't gonna say viral. For me, it's gone viral.
Uh,
Cause it's like really my first little joint I put out. But I sent it to you, sir.
the
But,
kind,
yeah.
right,
But the comments, man, is disgusting. Like like this devil can't stand anybody telling the truth about the ruthless nature of his people, man.
right.
Bringing out the truth. Then you got someone who was just saying that, just dismissed it and said that's not true. George Washington had wooden teeth, or that's not true. Um, Roosevelt never said that about, the only good Indian is a dead Indian. You even had one cat was like, "Well, what's wrong with him saying that?" You know what I mean? Like these devils don't care about us, man. They're not sorry for nothing, man.
Right.
But our people are so naive and not informed about who it is that they're giving their love to, man. But we out here begging and pleading for our people to love each other. But
Damn
they're
right.
fighting us for the right to love this man who cares nothing for us, man. Like, we gotta do better, man. Yo, Israel gotta rise up, man. We gotta gather together, man.
Right.
We gotta come together in brotherhood, man. Like, it's commanded by the Most High. Christ came and reiterated it, man. Christ didn't come speaking his own words. He only spoke the words of the Father that sent him, man. And he went back and he said the first commandment is, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one," man. And the first commandment is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy mind, and with all thy strength, man.
Right.
And the second is like, namely this, to love thy neighbor as thyself, man. This is Christ reiterating what the Lord said, man. Commanding us to love each other, man. Like, we gotta love each other, man. So, Lockie, sir, if you could get me John chapter 13, verse 34. John chapter 13, verse 34.
It's the book of John, chapter 13, verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you,
A new commandment, man. A new commandment. Read.
that ye love one another.
That ye love one another. Again, stressing the point that we need to love each other, man. But what's new about the commandment? Because we were commanded in the Old Testament to love each other, man. But read.
As I have loved you.
That's the new part, man. That we love each other the way Christ loved us, man. Because Christ died for us, man. He was willing
Right.
to give his life for his nation, for his brethren, man.
Right.
And that's the level of love we have to have for each other. We won't even give up a seat for each other, man. We won't give up $1 for a brother who obviously need thousands of dollars, man.
Right.
A brother asks you when you go in the store, man, can I have your spare change? And you come out the store and say, I ain't got no change, man. I just use my card. And you got a pocket full of change, man. So what, man? You make up excuses like he just gonna go buy drugs with it, or he gonna go buy alcohol with it. You don't know what that man is gonna do with it, man. You might assume you know, but if you was on the if the roles was reversed, wouldn't you want somebody to have compassion on you? So that if you want somebody to have compassion on you, then you need to do unto him as you would have him do unto you, man. We got to put these laws into practice, man. The Christian church has made it to where we treat these laws like it's some foreign concept, like it's something that's old news from the past. Like I was talking to this lady, over the past week, and she was saying, "Yeah, but we can't focus on so much on keeping the law. We need to focus on grace." And I never understand when people say things like that because then in the next breath they'll say, "We got to stop sinning." And I'm like, don't you realize that you're saying that we can sin as much as we want if you're saying
Right.
forget about the law? Like they never can put it together that breaking the law is sin, man.
Right.
Like they never can get that point, man. I never. So my whole thing is to get them to realize that sinning is breaking the law. So I asked them questions like, "What is a sin?" or "Is this a sin?" or "Is that a sin?" And I name things that are not even in the law, and they'll tell me, "Yeah, that's a sin." And I'm like, "Where is that written that that's a sin?" And it's only written in their opinion. Until I tell them that's not in the law, man. You find your sins by looking in the law, and if you break these laws, then those are considered sins. And you can see them, starting to get that. And some of them, you can see that they close their mind off to it immediately. Yeah. That's the job of trying to be a good brother sometimes, man. Because you got to tell your people the truth when showing brotherhood, and the truth ain't always popular, man.
Right.
That's part of brotherhood. Telling them whether they're here or forbear, man. And if you could, sir, Salaki, that was 13 and 33, 34.
Come.
Could you read 35?
It's the book of John, chapter 13, verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another, as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. Verse 35. While this shall all men know that ye are my disciples.
That's right. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, man. And that's what we do in the Isupk, man.
Right.
Because we put our best foot forward, man. We let our actions speak louder than our words, man. And we got a lot of words, man.
Yeah, right.
We got a lot of brothers who can bark at you, man. Who can rip your skin off with with words, man. Like we can let it raw, man. Like that officer Abraham.
Right.
You don't want to be at the receiving end of Officer Abraham blazing on you.
Right. Right.
But even more powerful than his words, man, are his actions, man.
Right. Right.
And by his actions, we know that we are his disciples, man. By us showing our love for each other, man. By us loving one another. That's how everybody's gonna know that all men will know that we are disciples of Christ, man. That's the standard in the ISUPK, man. That we love one another, man.
That's right.
And we got a lot of fake Israelite groups out here, man. And we're not affiliated with none of them. And what sets us apart from that is that we keep this, man. We love our brothers and our sisters. Even them, man. We even love them. And part of loving them is telling them that they're a fake Israelite and they're not in the truth, man. They need to get in this body, man. Because if somebody loves you, they're gonna tell you the truth.
That's right.
Read.
Verse 35. Now this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another.
That's right. You'll know that we're disciples of Christ and we have love one to another, man. And that's how I came into this body, man, because I could see that these were the disciples of Christ. Because everybody in here got love for one another, man. Got love for one another. You got love for people who are not even in this body, man. I've seen people on the street when we come together at camp or whatever, and you see the most evil and wicked of our own people who disrespect and violate us, man. I mean, violate us, man. And some of us are young in this truth. And our natural reaction is to resort back to how we would deal with these people in the world, man. But then you see somebody above you, a man above you, who's seasoned in this truth, and he'll deal with the brother with such love, such compassion, such brotherhood, and you're looking at him like, what? But then you realize, as you go into these scriptures, this is what Christ was talking about, man. This is how I have to become. This is why that man is above me. Because now you have an example of how to be the next time you are in that position. You have had somebody who's above you, who knows more than you, who's more seasoned than you, show you how to be a good brother to somebody in the world, man. Somebody who has transgressed his brother. They show you how to turn the other cheek. They show you how to forgive your brother 70 times 7, man. Like Captain I thought that day that brother came in our circle.
Uh-huh.
Right, man. Captain I thought, man. Give it up to Cap, man.
Most High in
Because
Christ.
Cap can be the most hardcore brother at times, man. Like the most hardcore. But at other times, he can show the most mercy, man.
Wow.
And he dealt with that brother who broke into our circle with the most brotherhood that he could have been given that day, man. Like that dude don't even understand how much brotherhood he was given that day by Cap, man.
Wow.
Because he was leaning over the arms of brothers in the circle. I ain't gonna call him names.
Yeah, what you said? So like, he said, I don't feel safe.
Right, right. He was like, what y'all doing in my community, man? I don't feel safe.
Wow.
He was leaning over the shoulders of some brothers in the circle. I ain't gonna say no names of whose shoulders he was leaning over.
Yeah, it was mine. It was
I
my
know.
brother. Me and another brother.
I know it was yours,
Like,
sir.
like
That's
nigga,
my point.
you don't get the Salaki.
That's my point. That y'all wasn't gonna be as forgiving as Cap. But the example that Cap showed now lets us see how we gotta be, man.
Wow.
Like I didn't know I was supposed to be that way. I would have reacted totally different. But now that I saw Cap set that example, now I know how to be, man.
Snap. All right, Salah, we have a technical difficulty. Stand by 1 second. Hold on.
Lucky for that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Lucky for that. Lucky for that. No technical difficulty, but we're back at it.
Salah, with the charges in,
Current, sir.
you can hear like the static.
Huh?
You can hear like the static.
Yeah,
Probably from
yeah.
the,
I had to plug it up.
yeah.
You know how to work around that? And we're working around that?
We got to sort through that or something.
Okay. Bear with us for the last 10 minutes of class, if you could. But, where were we? How about John chapter 15, verse 12, to precept the previous scripture we gave.
Comes the book of John, chapter 15, verse 12.
Right?
This is my commandment.
Right. So Christ in chapter 13, verse 34 said, a new commandment I give you. But now he said, this is my commandment. Read.
It's like
Yes, sir.
the charger, right?
Right?
It's a couple of different books on the notebook. Maybe try switching the book.
Okay. Is that better?
Nah.
It sound real bad.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. You sore throat.
Yeah,
That's Salah.
I hear it.
What that scripture is.
It was John chapter 15, verse 12.
It's the book of John, chapter 15, verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another, as I have loved you.
And this is Christ saying again, reiterating that this is my commandment. In chapter 13, verse 34, he says, a new commandment I give you, that you love one another as I have loved you. So now here again, 2 chapters later, in chapter 15, he said, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. He's saying it again, because that's how important brotherhood is, man.
Right.
And Christ is the ultimate example of being a good brother, man. As he has loved us, Christ gave up pretty much what any of us was told we need to do to have a good life. We need to, go to school, go get a good job, get married, start a family, make a lot of money, and do all of these things and live luxuriously. Like these are the things that we're taught to have a good life. Christ didn't do those things, man. Christ didn't get married, man. Christ didn't have kids. Christ didn't have a home, man. He gave all that up so that he could show his people the way that they should worship the Most High, man. The way that they should keep the law, man. The way that they should be better brothers and sisters to each other. But then at the end of all of that, he had to give up his life, get tortured, and killed for his people, man. Like that's the length that Christ went to be a good brother to all of us so that we could all have a chance to come back to the Most High, man. He gave up everything so that we could have a chance to come back to the Most High. He was good, but he gave up that for us, man. Like he treated us the way he would want to be treated, man. He did unto his neighbor the way that he would have his neighbor do unto him, man. He loved his neighbor as himself, man. He loved the Most High with all his heart, soul, mind, and strength, man. Like everything that's in the laws and how we are supposed to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, Christ did that, man. And he did it for us, the least of us, to the greatest of us. He did it for all of us, man. His brothers and his sisters, man. And that's how we should be to each other, man. That's brotherhood, man. That's the whole point of this class, man. For us to be good brothers and sisters to each other, man. So think about all of this, man. As you go about your daily life, as worrying about your bills and who wronged you yesterday and who owed you $20 and who made you mad on the job. Think about all of these things that Christ did for us, man. And think about what he commanded us to do, to love one another, man, as he loved us. Think about all of that as you go through your day to day. And think about how you can become a better brother or sister to each other, man. The other blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. And then think about the other nations, the oppressors, man. Think about whether you treat them better than you treat your own, man. And should you really be giving all that love to them and neglecting to love your own, man? Think about these things, man. Because brotherhood is what we're going to need in this nation. But we having some difficulty with the sound, so I'm going to clip it up right there. The water to you, sir,
That's
for
right,
coming
brother.
on. And with that, we're going to give it up for the security announcement. Michael, security announcements. We are the Isupk under Commander General Yohana. Started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Room for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3, 8 and 10. The tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department of teaching. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation. The next upcoming holy convocation is the memorial of blowing of trumpets, and that is memorial of blowing of trumpets, and that is September 6th. It'll be here at the Charlotte School, which is in Kannapolis, located at 1539 Monkridge Avenue, Kannapolis, North Carolina, 28083. Everybody's welcome. Everybody who's black, Hispanic, and Native Indian is welcome to gather with us and celebrate this feast of the memorial blowing of trumpets. You're all welcome. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, Michael, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanah, Shabbat Shemayim, Kudash, Ayah, Shabka, Yahweh, Malakika, Tabaa, Ratzaka, Ayah, Aisha, Ba'aratiza, Kawah, Ayah, Bashemaya, Nadananam, Nakam, Ka, Yuwan, Wasalaknam, Kabawatinam, Kasalaknam, Kabawatinam, Wala, Dawiyanam, Barasaiwan, Abal, Abashayanam, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalaka, Wa'ala, Wa'atapara, La'avalamim, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, and will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Class dismissed.